Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are on our Friday night broadcast. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about letting go. It's fall, and fall is a time for the leaves to let go. Well, it depends what hemisphere you're in. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's time to let your clothes go and get into lighter clothes. But in the northern hemisphere, for those of us who live in the cooler side of the hemisphere at this time of the year, it's a time for the leaves to let go. And I thought we'd just spend a little bit of time this evening talking about letting go and why it's important and what it may or may not bring you. But before we do that, for those of you who might be new to the broadcast, welcome. Good to see you. If you are just tuning in on a replay, thank you for doing so. And let me just explain what we do. You're going to see in the notes below that it's going to say from 00 to such and such a time, news, views, and updates. And then from another time on to the end, it'll be the topic. Now, the reason we do that is we actually talk a little bit about news and views to give people time to grab what they need and get in and get a comfy seat so we can start the program. And so that's just why I would recommend that you check below. And hello to Jody and hello to Marie. Good to see you. And so the interesting part of this is that what we do, the format that we use is I will pick a topic, and as I said, this evening it's about fall, and then we will read various quotes about letting go, which is what we do it in fall, and then we'll see what that brings up for us. And as I've said time and time again, I could actually give everybody exactly the same quotes next week and different things would come up for different people. And that's what I love about doing this, because what we're interested in is what's coming up for you this week and how can we help you with that. Now, we had a really interesting time of it at lunchtime today, because we actually got to speak to somebody who we hadn't spoken to before. And it really was quite, enlightening is not a strong enough word. Amazing was the word, because we got to talk to somebody who'd had a major heart attack a couple of months ago, was given about a 2% chance of surviving it, and he did. And then now also has major problems with the brain tumor and the inability to see a great deal and so forth, and yet was joining in and helping himself take the next steps. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I was certainly very impressed with Scott when we did that broadcast today. And it made me realize that, as usual, what excuse do the rest of us have, when somebody is dealing with all of that? Now, Jody, I wanted to let you know that I want to thank you. Hi, Beth. Good to see you. I want to thank you because I did actually bite the bullet this week, and I ordered up some empty capsules to... hang on a second, to put in my moringa powder. Now, the interesting thing was I got really quite good at those, and I did enough to keep me going for the next few days, because, hi, Jonas, good to see you. The live chat is still up in the last broadcast? I actually took it down. Wait a minute. Let me go check on that. Thank you so much for letting me know. I actually physically remember going and taking that down, so there's something wrong there. But if it's still up, then I will take it off. Thank you so much, as I said, for noticing that. Just hold on one second. Let me get there and sort that one out while we're talking. So in the meantime, start thinking about the things that you might need to let go of. Just while I double check this. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm nearly there. I really appreciate it when people help me with this, because it's never my intent to leave that up. Come on, come on, come on. You're quite right, Beth. Thank you. I have now taken it down. I clicked the wrong thing. I obviously wasn't concentrating. I knew I'd clicked something, but apparently it helps if you click the right thing. I don't know if any of you agree with it. So good for you. Thanks very much indeed for the teamwork on that one. Hi, Nana. Yeah, Jody, so I thought I'd let you know that I have done that. And by the way, I understand about how messy it is, but I'm waiting for the machine. The machine is coming and should be here by the end of the month. So I will do a lot better with that. But actually, I found I got quite into the sort of rhythm of doing it. And yeah, it is messy, but I think I will do better taking it in capsule form than I'm doing with it loose. Nana, how are you doing? And just while we're waiting for people to update us, if you've got any updates for me, please let me have them, just so that I can talk about them. And in the meantime, let me just say that our thoughts and prayers are still with Lionel and Jody, who are trying to get their new to them car, and we're hoping they found one, but they're just doing the double checks on it. So I'm really hoping that works. And is there anybody else that has thoughts and prayers? I obviously could do with them. But that's an ongoing thing with me. And just while I'm waiting for people to answer me on that one, if you are new to the program, and if you notice there is a bell down here somewhere, if you click on the bell, it will tell you when we're about to we do 3 live broadcasts a week. So that will warn you when that's going to happen. And if you follow on Facebook, DearMamaSal on Facebook and on Twitter, I use Facebook to update people during the week when something happens or I see something interesting during the week. That's when I do it. The birthdays this week, we had Jamie's birthday on the 24th. And then we've got Kerry's coming up on Halloween on the 31st. And Nana's, and happy birthday to Nana, coming up on the 2nd. Which will be next Friday. So we'll get to wish you happy birthday. I thought that was that. And then, so that is awesome. Right. In terms of updates on the fitness, yes, go right ahead, Marie. Any news that you have for us? I've got Marie Jim ? That's what I have on the one step at a time. I must admit, I was saying at lunchtime that I did a really good push in the downsizing this week. So I'm very proud of myself for that. You know something, Beth? I've been watching your comments, and I'm not surprised that you're exhausted. It sounds to me like you're putting in way more hours than you planned to, and you're just about to get into the busy season. So, my heart goes out to you, and I'm not sure how you're going to control this, but I know you're smart enough to see what's happening. And, if you remember, you promised yourself you would make enough time so that you could be a grandmother. And that's really what I wish for you. But do the best you can. You made it to the gym all 5 days of the week. Wow. And you've lost almost 5 pounds. That is really impressive, Marie. You did not do what I did, which is go and buy Halloween candy. Welcome back, Jonas. I managed to get Halloween candy, and I'm doing very well with it. By the handful. What makes me think that just because they're small, they won't do any damage? Yeah, right. That is not true, but I am enjoying them, I must say. So But it was interesting when I went shopping for them. I was actually talking to different shoppers, and I was glad to know I wasn't the only one going there for my own benefit, not for anybody else's. And one woman said to me, "Actually, this is my second trip. I've consumed the first one." Okay, so you cut out all pop, Marie, and you've been drinking like scotch or water. Or maybe scotch with water. I don't know. Beth is down 8 pounds, but you don't want to be Beth. So that's why, to me, that's a whole different thing. You're down 8 pounds when you're trying not to do that. So that means that, the same way as I need to control putting in the candy, you know that you need to control getting enough to eat, especially with this amount of stress. Yeah, Marie, I had a feeling you forgot to add the word, and I'm drinking water. Yeah. You're drinking lots and lots of water. That's wonderful. Actually, I stopped drinking water this week because the water from my fridge was tasting strange. And then I thought, well, maybe it's because it needs a new filter. So I changed the filter today and it tastes a whole lot better. So I'm back to drinking more water again. All right, so nobody else has got any news, views, or updates? Just let me know if you have anything that we may have forgotten, upcoming birthdays or whatever, and special days. Oh, news from my side. I'm popping down to the States on Tuesday. I'm going to go and visit Benji, Judy, and the children. So that's very exciting for me. I haven't been down there for a long, long time. So I've got all sorts of things in my goodie box that probably don't fit them anymore and whatever, but I don't care. Well, I say, I think actually most of the stuff I've got in at the moment are things to draw and paint with and so forth. So, but I've got, some wine. I know I didn't throw it in there, but I put some wine in there for Judy, and I put a present in there some time ago for Benji. Whenever I'm out and I see something, I sort of put it in this one box, and then when I go down, I take a box of goodies for everybody, which I don't wrap because they don't like it if it's wrapped. So I don't wrap it as I go through the border, and then I get to the other end, I very unceremoniously start handing out goodies. You actually are part of the family. With their channel. Oh, okay, Jonas. That's good to hear. Yeah, they've been really busy as a family recently. I don't know if you heard, but Benji managed to fall off a jungle gym and break his collarbone in 5 places or something. It was really quite dramatic. Yes, and so Nana, you do the same thing, right? You got a cupboard full of stuff for the children, yeah, and your children are all grown, or so it's like it's really, it's really a good thing. I don't know about you, but it sort of helps because whenever I go down, I just pick up the box, and I know when I go through the border, I just quickly write a list because they always ask me, what am I bringing? And I go, well, it's for the children, and I go, blah, 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 blah. Actually, I just hand the list over. I find it works much better. You wanted to read his book. Yes, it's for those of you who haven't seen that Benji and Sean wrote a book, and I've got it in the notes below here, actually. If you look at the notes below, it says Benji and Sean's book. Yeah, one is only 2 and one is 42. Yes, but they're still children. You're right. Yeah. Yes, isn't that nice, Marie? Your mom collects stuff for you and periodically just sends you a happy package. My mom used to do that for me when I was overseas, and I used to go insane because it used to cost me a fortune to get it through customs, but I understood her thought was good. So let us move on and talk a little bit about fall. And the reason I wanted to talk about fall, and the time check is going to be 15 minutes, Jody. And the reason I wanted to talk about fall was because As pretty as the leaves are, I thought we should discuss a little bit about why do leaves fall off the trees in fall? Is there a reason for it? And I just wondered whether we could just talk a little bit about that. Why does that happen? Not on all trees, only on deciduous trees, but why do okay, Nana's saying it's the weather and the lack of sun. All right. Lack of warm weather. There we go, Marie. Yes. Yeah. And Beth, I love that because they're dead tired like me. Yeah, Beth, I think they are a bit tired of, you working all summer. But actually it's a bit like a snake, getting rid of its skin. At the end of the year, of its functional year. I think in a way, and I don't know if this describes it in a way that will make any sense. I think the trees let go of their leaves so they don't waste their energy on all that extra foliage. All right, they just drop the leaves, and then they can conserve what energy they've got to looking after the base, the core, the trunk, and the tree limbs. Does that make sense? And then what they do is they shut down um, that stuff for all the leaves, like that can go, it's like gone, right? And then when the spring comes and they know they're going to get more warmth, more energy from the sun, then they can start thinking about growing a bit more. So yes, I think in some ways they are just done. And what is the purpose of the leaves in the first place? Anybody know what the purpose of leaves is on a tree? That's a good question. Yeah, that's how I like to look at it as well, Beth. It's a shedding of the old and awaiting the new season. And I would like to say that the winter of our lives, is not so much a dead season as much as a conservation. We're building up our energy, we're building up, we're building up our strength, we're building up our resources, everything ready for the next year. And that's the way I like to look at it. And so just think about that. And I don't have the answer. I'm hoping somebody is busy Googling why do trees have leaves? I'd like to think because of the photosynthesis, that their job um, is to take in carbon monoxide and breathe out oxygen. So you have to have leaves to do that. Now, that would be my answer, but I'm not sure if it's the correct one. Well, photosynthesis is actually something else, but you know what I mean? It's like it's their job, or maybe it isn't, but it's their job to collect all the crud from the air and breathe out fresh oxygen. Like all plants, trees need their leaves to stay alive. Leaves are a tree's food factories. There you go. They contain the sticky green stuff called chlorophyll. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes it's as simple as actually Googling it. But I think I'm correct, aren't I? That part of what the leaves do is they actually filter out the bad stuff in the air, which is why it's really important that we have trees and stop chopping down as many as we do. All right, and Marie's saying the chlorophyll uses water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide, yes, in the air to make the sugary food. The food is then carried to every part of the tree as sweet and sticky juice called sap. Well, there you go. All right. And is that the same sap that makes maple syrup? Because I'm Canadian, so I think about that. The same sap that makes amber. So I love these things. So I'm going to start with a quote today about letting go. And what I'm going to do, as usual, is to give you the quote, and then you tell me what that brings up for you if it does. All right. And the quote is this: letting go does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to force others to. Listen to that one. How many of you relate to that? Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to get others to, stop forcing others to. Wow. How many of you know that one takes a lot of time to learn? Yeah. You can't force people to like you, unfortunately. So therefore, the trick is to let go of the need for everybody to like you. Yeah, Marie, I had a feeling a couple of you would relate well to that one. And, it's like sometimes we need a reminder of that, which is why I love to do these topic broadcasts, because we all need to be reminded it's time to let go. How about this one? Sometimes the hardest part isn't letting go, but rather learning to start over. All right. And I know that with what I'm doing, all right, that I am just so aware of all the things I need to let go of in order to be able to start the next phase of my life. And it is huge, right? Let me read what's happened here. Um, Yeah, Jonas, that's right. So you advised your son your friend who was having a hard time to actually take a self-care break and look after herself. You know something? And she can't do it, right? Because she doesn't know how to look after herself. She's so used to having others fulfill that need. And I am quite sure that she is not alone. Yeah, Beth is saying her dad told her that the leaves fall to get ready for the new fresh start, to create new generations of trees. And because of that, she has fond memories of walks in the woods. Yeah, I think we all do. Well done, Jonas. Learning to let go is a huge one. Yeah, one day at a time, Jody. I quite agree. No, it's very difficult, to learn how to be able to care for yourself is, I think, a major part of becoming an adult. When you stop waiting for other people to make you happy, when you stop waiting for other people to do things for you, when you realize that's your job. I'm really pleased, Jonas. I am so happy that you're doing that. All right. So you're practicing self love. You're practicing meditation and giving yourself small tasks every day. Good. And taking breaks from social media. Yeah, that really helps. Well done. Now, this is an interesting one. It says, the moment after being let go, when we can finally let it go, is the moment when love once again has hope. Um, Wow, I'm going to read that again. The moment after being let go, when we can finally let it go, is the moment when love once again has hope. For any of us who've been through a breakup of any sort, there's one part of this which is the breakup, but then there's that terrible time when we refuse to let go of what it was, and we hold on, hoping that it will go back to how it was, and it never does. And so we have to learn to let it go so that we can move on. You remember I tell the story about going up the ladder. In order to go up the ladder, you have to let go of something. You can't keep moving up the ladder unless you trust enough to let go of one hand and reach for the next rung, and then to let go of one foot and bring that up as well. And so it's a really important thing to remember that we cannot move forward unless we let go. And that is really scary sometimes. You cannot lose what you never had. You cannot keep what's not yours. And you can't hold on to something that doesn't want to stay. And I think I would preface that with the word unfortunately. because there have been so many times in my life where I've tried to do all of those at the same time. All right, so let me read that again. You cannot lose what you never had. You cannot keep what's not yours, and you can't hold on to something that doesn't want to stay. And that is so true, isn't it? And it just is what it is. And boy, I assure you, I've spent time trying to do all of those things. You know, we were having a talk at lunchtime today about toxic friends, and somebody had said, you know, let go of your toxic friends. And I said, oh gosh, no, please don't. And I said, because I've been a toxic friend, you know, I've been a toxic person in my life. And I would hate for my friends to let me go just because I was having a bad hair week, you know. And so, you know, that was the discussion. And when I made everybody stop and think about that, you know, if we let go of all the people that were being toxic, we probably wouldn't have anybody in our lives, because, you know, life goes in ups and downs, and we need to remember that. And, you know, it's not that we mean to be otherwise. It just is that, you know, we're having a tough time. And so I did beg for some compassion for those days for your friends. You can close your eyes to the things you don't want to see, but you can't close your heart to the things you don't want to feel. You can close your eyes to the things you don't want to see, but you can't close your heart to the things you don't want to feel. And how many of you know that sometimes that can be quite painful? You know, when we realize we just have to feel this right now. And, you know, it's okay to feel. It's not pleasant sometimes, but it is okay to feel. And, you know, really to ask yourself, oh, Jonas has got a quote from Oscar Wilde. It is absurd to divide people into good and bad. People are either charming or tedious. Yeah, but what I'm saying, Jonas, you know, there are times when I'm sure you're toxic for somebody. All right. There are times when I am. And so therefore, what I'm saying to people is, just because somebody's having a bad week and maybe feels toxic to you this week, you know, give them a chance to just recover. Now, if they've been like it nonstop for the last 2 years, yeah, maybe it's time to let go. But other than that, you know, be aware that you're not always charming, and sometimes you can be tedious as well. Well, maybe not you, but I certainly have to tell you, there are days when I am charming, and I can tell you there are days when I am tedious. How do you feel? How many of you agree with me? I just haven't perfected being charming all of the time. You know, I'm still working on that one. But if any of you have reached that level of brilliance, let me know. Yeah, Jody's going, I have many tedious days. Yes. Um, now, I think this is. um, you're charming. Yeah. So, yeah, how do you like this quote? I thought this was great. She's not nagging. She's trying to tell you something. The only reason she's being persistent is because she cares. When she stops nagging, as you call it, you should be worried, because at that point, she no longer cares. Oh, isn't that the truth? How many of you relate to that one? She's not nagging. She's trying to tell you something. The only reason she's being persistent is because she cares. When she stops nagging, as you call it, you should get worried, because at that point, she no longer cares. Yeah, that's a great quote. I really relate to that. Yeah. And the other thing is, I actually wouldn't say that she cares. I actually think that whenever we're nagging somebody, we're trying to control them. Would that be true? I stopped myself nagging by reminding myself that nagging is actually trying to control somebody to do something that I want them to do, and they obviously don't want to do. And so that's a great time to let go. That's a great red flag for me now, which is it's time to let go of hoping they're going to do something differently. Now, again, I'm not talking about children. I'm talking about adults here. Yeah, so think about this, Marie. All right. This is a really interesting point. So I'm glad you're picking up on it. Marie says, usually when I nag at my boyfriend, it's just to tell him to get his work done or pick up his dishes. That's being a mother, right? Do you understand? That's what mothers do. That's not being a girlfriend, that's being a mother. So, um, so here's the thing. For those of you who have learned not to nag, you sound like his mother. Yes, exactly. And you do. If you are nagging at him to get his work done or to pick up his dishes, that's exactly what mothers do. And most men I know don't want another mother. They've already got one of those. So, would you like some ideas about how not to nag? You see, and we do it because it was done to us. So, do any of you have any ideas on how to not nag people? Okay, so Jonas is saying sometimes I argue with people being inconsistent or contradictory, and I am persistent when they clearly don't understand. I'm trying to learn to let things go, even when they don't make sense. Yes, Jonas, quite a simple thing. Put it up on your mirror. Be happy rather than right. If you keep telling people that they're inconsistent or that they're contradictory, you are being a know-it-all. All right. And you're trying to control them. Be happy rather than right. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're not. And I want to tell you, there are an awful lot of inconsistent people, and there are an awful lot of contradictory people in the world. And so what I would recommend is to learn how to agree to disagree, but without talking about it. Just roll your eyes inside your head and let it go and be happier. Because they're not going to change. If they are inconsistent people, they are going to continue to be inconsistent. You telling them they're inconsistent isn't going to change it. It's like telling a smoker to stop smoking. They have to want to stop to do it. You nagging them isn't going to make them stop. Makes sense, Jonas. And it's all a control thing. All right. So Beth says, I only nag when I'm feeling like I'm falling behind and getting overwhelmed. I can actually feel myself having a pre-anxiety attack before the nag and the heart races. Yes. Now, the interesting thing is that's a very good observation of yourself. All right. That when you see up until that point, Beth, though, you do everything for everybody. And that's the scary thing. So, that's a warning flag for you, right? Before you have your panic attack. Exactly. Because you are overwhelmed. Well, you asked, right? Jonas is saying he asked a friend out on a date and she said she's not ready for a relationship, yet she agrees to go out with some random dude. You're saying it doesn't make sense logically. To you, it doesn't, but to her, she's just going out for the evening. She's not going into a relationship. She's just going out to have company. All right. If I go out on a date, it doesn't mean I necessarily want to have a relationship with that person. How does the rest of the room feel? In the days that you were dating, for those of you who are in relationships, full time, did you go out with people just, so you could go out and have fun? Or was every time, but she wouldn't go out with you? All right. Well, probably because she thought that you wanted a relationship, Jonas. That would be my sense. All right. But it's an interesting point. No, it's not. There's nothing wrong with you. You're so good at thinking there's always something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You probably are a really nice dude, and you probably are very much relationship material. And and you look like it, and you sound like it, and you're very serious about your intent. And you just haven't found the person that appreciates that yet. And you will. I am sure that you will. Okay, so what is the better way not to nag? I nag at my boyfriend to get his work done because he'll game and stay up late and then go to bed, and I'll go to bed early. And when he comes in, he wakes me up because I'm a light sleeper. Well, that's true. But it's his life. He can stay up and game. But if you are going to complain because he wakes you up, you may be in a relationship with the wrong person, because I doubt he's going to stop being a gamer. Yes, you see, Jonas, that is an interesting point, though. She said you were her best friend. A lot of people do not want to mix up their best friends with relationships, because a best friend, in a way, is more precious to people than somebody they're in a relationship with. It's harder to find a good best friend. Yeah. Yeah, Beth, Beth, you're so right. All right, I got to read what Beth is saying here. She says, it's like I'm in a battle with two different people inside myself constantly. So frustrating, right? Want one to go away, but I think they both need to be balanced so I have the best of both worlds. Yes, exactly. So we all have those two different people talking to us. And there's the one that wants to do everything for everybody, and the one that knows that's not healthy. And then, yes, but this one needs a bit more help. But yeah, you need to let it go. And it's very difficult because you hear both voices. All right. Now, what is his work, Marie? Just so we understand. Yeah, but you see, Marie, you're busy trying to make him be a responsible person. That's what I hear. All right. Yeah, and he's got to pay the consequences, Marie. All right, yeah, and that's all you have to say. Hey, buddy, if you don't want to do the work, that's your right, but don't complain to me when you lose your job, right? Because really, you know, right? It's his choice, Marie. My question is, my question is, do you think he's going to change? By you nagging him to get do you actually think he's going to change? Because I want to tell you that there are an awful lot of people in this room right now that try to get other people to change and will tell you he's going to keep doing it. It's what he does. And if you are going to continue to be frustrated by it, this is not a relationship. Yeah. But you understand, you know, it's like you have to hold him accountable for being an adult. You just want him to do it your way, all right? To keep on track and do it at the right times. That's not how he functions. So he probably is better working at late at night and fast than he is doing things your way. So do any of you relate to that? That some people do really well starting things really early and doing it systematically. Other people work much better under pressure. And it's really strange because the two sorts of people can never understand how the other one does it. Yeah, you're treating him like a child, not like an adult, Marie. Well, you know, Jonas, I don't have a good argument for you. All right. Jonas is saying if dates are about hanging out and not necessarily pursuing a relationship, then what's wrong with going out with a friend? What's the difference between a date and just hanging out? Well, I think the difference is that your friend didn't think that you just wanted to hang out. That would be my guess, but I'm just guessing on that. You'd have to ask the person. But you know, if some people literally, you know, are not as solid, if you like, as other people. Some people just go out for the fun of going out. Some people go out because they want to be in a relationship. Yes, Marie, and you need to look at that, all right? Because that is going to dog you all the time you're in a relationship with this person. All right? You are always going to think he should have started this earlier. And he's going, no, I don't work like that. And you're both right. Do you understand that, Marie? You just need to say to him, hey, I know you're not a stupid person. So, yeah, you do it when you're good and ready. Just do me a favor. If you're going to come to bed after midnight, sleep on the couch. Right? In other words, you want to sleep with me, get there by midnight. You know? But otherwise, if you're going to work until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, stay on the couch. Then it's up to him. Or be aware that, you know, that's going to happen all your life. Please do not use the words, I love him to death. Do you understand what you're saying there? Yeah, and that's right, Marie. That's, you know. Yes, if you say, I love him to death, what happens if he suddenly dies? Will you spend the rest of your life saying, you know, I kept saying that, I love him to death? So just be aware of what you're saying. Rather say, I love him so much, you know, not I love him to death, because something tells me that if he actually died, you'd spend the rest of your life wishing you had never said that. I found there were a lot of things I used to say in my life where I don't say it anymore. Yeah, I'm glad it makes some sense. The person who doesn't value you, Jonas, this is what I'm reading here. The person who doesn't value you is blocking you from the one who will. Let them go. The person who doesn't value you is blocking you from the person that will. Let them go. Make sense? And you know, the funny thing is, the person that will value you may not look like the person you want, but if they value you, they will be. I agree with you, Jonas. I've also, some time ago, stopped making promises to anybody. And I stop people promising me stuff when they say, oh, I promise you I'll do that. I say, please don't. Life could get in the way. Please don't promise me. Tell me you'll do everything within your power to get it done, but don't promise me, because there's nothing worse than breaking a promise. You're not sure you understand which one, Beth? The last quote or something else? Okay, let's read it again. The person who doesn't value you is blocking you from the person who will. In other words, if you're holding on to somebody who doesn't value you, you're not free to find the person who will value you, Beth. Does that make sense? Yeah. And now Jonas is saying, yeah, and he's putting it in quotes. You said you promised you would never leave. Yeah, but I can't be with you anymore if you're toxic. Okay, so you see, you promised that you would never leave. I've been married twice, and guess what? Both times I was told through sickness and health, Jonas, and both times when I got sick, they left. So yeah, don't promise me stuff. I'm a great believer now. Don't tell me that you love me. Show me. And I listen to Jodie's story about Lionel, and I go, wow, if ever there was a guy that shows Jodie that she is loved, it's Lionel, because he does incredible things. And by the way, if ever there was a person who shows Lionel that he's loved, it's Jodie, right? Because they do these little things all the time that show love. It's not big, huge stuff. It's little stuff. All right. This is, yeah, well, Jodie, I could be wrong, but maybe you only tell me the good stuff. But I really, when I listen to some of the things you two do with each other and for each other, it's like it is so cute. And Jonas is saying that's why I don't agree with the institution of marriage. Well, that is your observation. I think there are other people in the room right now who will tell you that there's nothing outdated about marriage. All right. that it is what it is. It is a marriage of two people. And so, Jonas, I understand that, that you feel differently. But there are other people who've been married for 50 years who'll tell you there's nothing outdated about it. Yeah, exactly. But but everybody's entitled to their own view. All right. So I'm not saying that you're right or wrong, Jonas. I'm saying that just different people have different ideas. And I think the people that believe in marriage do everything they can to make it last. I couldn't believe it. I kept saying, didn't we agree that, if these things happen, that we would sort it out and work it out together? Isn't that what we gave marriage vows about? And I can't remember it saying when you got bored, you'd be pissing off and having an affair. I can't remember that in the marriage vows. Did I get it wrong? It was just like, what did I miss here? So I listen to stories from people like Nana and so forth, and I go, that's a marriage. They work through their stuff and they continue to make each other happy in their own way. And marriage is a balancing act. I think to be in a successful marriage, you have to learn to be a balancer. Yes. And Beth is saying, married 29 years. Good and bad. No, boy, you had bad, but you're still together. Exactly. You worked through a lot. Exactly, Nana. And, very proud of you for it. So here's the next quote. You have, excuse me. You have to let people go. Everyone who is in your life are meant to be on your journey, but not all of them are meant to be there until the end. All right? So, and that's what we just need to understand, that not everybody is meant to be in our life forever. I've always said about doing Dear Mama Sal, it's like a big rotating wheel. And some of us have been here a long time, and some of us stay for a while and move on. And then some of us stay for a while, move on and come back, and then move on and come back and move on and come back. And to me, it doesn't matter. You see, to me, what's important is that we're still here doing the work. So, Jody, I know you're not perfect, and that's part of what I love about you. And you for sure know that I'm not either. So, to me, it's about, that's why I'm saying, please don't let go of all your toxic friends, because you won't have any left. Now, here we give another Oscar Wilde quote. Jonas, I love the fact you quote Oscar Wilde as much as you do. The essence of romance is the uncertainty, and marriage essentially takes away the unpredictable nature of it. Wow, that is Oscar Wilde. Now, you do... all right, so Oscar Wilde, was he married? Or was he justifying his lifestyle? Yes, and I agree with you, Nana. Marriage is hard at times, but the good times are worth it. And the more mistakes you get over, the more you can trust. Exactly. That's wonderful. Yeah, Beth saying she let her mum go. She wasn't meant for me. She was so sick and toxic that, and she was recovering. But you know something? You loved her. Yes. And that's it. And did I see what you said to Jody, Nana? I think I just read it out, didn't I? Yeah, and Jody's saying that, Nana, Lionel, and Jody have been together through hell, with her health issues. But he's given up everything, his career and everything, just to help her. So I would have thought the fact that I read it, Nana, told you that I did see what you wrote. Okay. Yes, he was married and he had a wife. This is Oscar Wilde, but he was gay and he was punished for it, as were an awful lot of people in that time and before. Okay, Marie, sleep well and see you on Sunday. Yeah, and that's why I queried about Oscar Wilde, because I think Oscar Wilde was very conflicted in a lot of ways. He tried to have everything, and yet that wasn't who he was. But what a talent. And, like a lot of creative people, very, very talented, but very conflicted. How about this for a quote? I can't talk to you anymore. It's not that I'm mad at you. It's just when I talk to you, I realize how much I love you. And then I figure out I can't have you. Wow. I had somebody say that to me once. Yes, but you know something? It wasn't, like so many great creative people, Jonas. He went through hell for the sake of his talent. And, you look at any talented, creative person, what hell did any of the greats go through? His reputation tarnished for many years. Yes, I mean, if you look at the great artists, if you look at, I'm certain great male ballerinas like Nureyev or whatever, went through hell. I am certain, you look at Sammy Davis Jr. was black, for goodness sake, and he was living in hovels in Las Vegas, while Sinatra and the rest of the pack were living in five-star luxury. Boy, did he suffer. But you know something? He carried on doing what he wanted to do because that's what he was good at. And eventually he helped change that absolutely insane double standard. that, Sammy Davis Jr. was as talented as the rest of the pack. And yet he literally had to live in hovels while they lived in five-star luxury. And his only reason for doing it was because he was Black. So, yeah, it's, life isn't fair. And there are an awful lot of creative people that died penniless, I can tell you, as I'm sure you know. And the fact that he was gay and that nobody wanted to hear about that. It's the same as, I don't know how the rest of you feel, that, suddenly now the transgender people are now going to have to say they are what they were born to be, whatever genitals they had at birth, of what they have to put down as their, as their gender. And you're going, really. But it is what it is. And we have to find a place where we can live that accepts who we are, not places where they don't accept people for who they are. I have a rule. This is what I'm quoting here. I don't go backwards. Once I'm done, it's done. I don't give second chances. You won't waste my time twice. Yikes. That's pretty tough, isn't it? I can't tell you who said that, but how many of you do give people second chances? Anybody? Yeah, it's amazing. I have a rule. I don't go backwards. Once I'm done, I'm done. I don't give second chances. I don't waste my time twice. So to me, I can't say that I agree with that, because I believe everybody deserves a second chance. And most of all, I'd like to suggest that I deserve a second chance. So to me, I can't live with that quote, but I'm certain that some people can. My mother was like that. My mother, if you wronged my mother, that was it. Done. And I think I look at it and go, let he who hasn't sinned cast the first stone. I've had bad days, where I've done some things I'm not proud of, and so I'd like to be given a second chance. But I understand some people don't have that level of compassion, and that's their right. The trick is to understand that. You can forgive people, Jonas, but it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily remain friends. Exactly. Yeah, so that's why, Jody, I like to read both sides, all right? Because some will resonate with some people and some won't. Now then, how many of you... Right. Beth is saying, I give away too many chances to everybody. I like to not be a doormat. Well, those two are conflicting things. If you continue to give too many chances to everybody, you are a doormat, right? So maybe you misworded that. I'm not sure. And how about this quote, everybody? Make it a habit to notice and focus on what is good in your life. Stop worrying about all the bad things in your life and concentrate on what is good in your life. Focus on it and keep moving forward. If we keep concentrating on the people that have done us wrong, if we keep concentrating on the things that aren't going well, we will surely become very bitter people. And I wouldn't want that for anybody. And so if you can't concentrate on the good in your life on your own, then you may need to get some help doing that, because there is so much good in our lives. There are times when I really think I'm going to have to stop watching the news because it frustrates me so much. And then I keep saying to myself, why do you keep watching this garbage, right? Yes, Jodie's saying her gratitude checks have done her the world of good. Yeah. You know that and I really do that as well. I every morning I get up and I just say, well, the first good thing is I woke up. You know, the second good thing is I still have a roof over my head. I know I'm in the top 5% of the world. You know, I have a list of things that however broke I am this week, you know, I know I'm still in the top 5% of the world. You know, I am grateful that I have a coat to put on. I have shoes for my feet. You know, there are so many things to be grateful for. Um, and you know, it's like start your day with the good stuff. Yeah, I think, you know, Jonas, it's interesting, isn't it? That it stopped being the news somehow or other. I don't know about you, but, um, you know, every now and then I keep going, thank goodness that there actually is some news going on in the world that stopped what we normally see. And, you know, because we seem to spend so much time on stuff that isn't news, it is just more of the same. And it's, you know, it's no wonder that we're getting tired of it. It's just every day is the same. And it's people arguing with one another when there's no need to do that. We're all entitled to our opinion. Happiness is letting go of what you think your life is supposed to look like and celebrate it for everything that it is. Happiness is letting go of what you think life is supposed to look like. That is so true. And celebrating it for everything that it is. Hi, Niasha. Good to see you. Welcome. We're talking about letting go. It's fall, and the leaves are letting go, and we're talking about how to do that. And so, a woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong she is until she gets in hot water. Do anybody know who said that? It's a very famous quote. Jonas, most of us will spend the rest of our lives trying to work that one out. Jonas is saying, I still haven't figured out what I want to let go of yet. Yep. And that's the trick. All right. A woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong she is until she gets in hot water. It was Eleanor Roosevelt who said that. And it's a very, very famous quote of hers. She had some great quotes, actually. Now, this one I think has got Beth's name on it. Beth, are you ready for this one? Take a really deep breath, honey. If you don't value your time, neither will others. Stop giving away your time and your talents. Value what you know and start charging for it. Shall I read it again for you, Beth? It was the first half that I thought you really would need, which is if you don't value your time, neither will others. Stop giving away your time and your talent. All right? Keep some of it for yourself. You know, I don't know if you've ever read The Wealthy Barber, Beth, a very famous financial book. But in The Wealthy Barber, one of the things that they talk about is you should always keep 10% of your whatever you earn and put it away for yourself. And I keep thinking about you, you know, it'd be a really good idea if you took 10% of every day and you put it away for you, not for the work, not for the cleaning, not for the babies or the grandbabies, not for your husband. 10% of every day is for you. And it's not about running around like a blue-ass fly. It's about sitting down and reading or just taking, a long bath or doing whatever. That's what I would wish for you. It's not what you wish for yourself. Ah, yes. Beth says, dang, I think you read that because I've been taking 30-minute break at work, but I confuse working off the clock. Yep. Niesha saying, I want to let go of my caring for others because I realize it's not the same level as I do for them. In other words, the way they look after you is not the same, right? It's not reciprocated. Jonas has started doing an hour of meditation every day. That is really, really awesome. Really good for you. Well done. I'm very proud of you for that. Time doesn't heal emotional pain. You need to learn how to let it go. Okay, so Beth is saying, so I'm working every day off the clock, not getting paid. That's your choice. All right? That's your choice. Do you think they're going to love you more for doing that? Yes, I'm glad that you're exploring Buddhism, Jonas. I think it will do you a lot of good. They all do it. That doesn't mean it's right. Really, I have to tell you something. Just because everybody else, it's like saying to me, Beth, well, everybody commits murder, so I need to do that too. That doesn't make any sense. Just because everybody else does it. You signed a contract, Beth, as far as I know. You signed a contract with this company and you told them how many hours you were going to work. And they agreed to that. That's in a contract that you wrote, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they agreed to it because they wanted you that badly. So no, you don't have to. The next quote is from Conrad Hilton, and he said, achievement seems to be connected with action. Successful men and women keep moving. They make mistakes, but they don't quit. So it's okay to do mistakes. That's how you learn things. And I like this one as well, which is the real opportunity for success lies within the person, not within the job. I've always said to people, your success is in what you do that makes you happy, not what other people think is a successful job. I believe so much that, we each are on this planet for a reason. Nyasha, if you're trying to learn how to meditate, you may want to go and do some courses on it. All right? If it doesn't seem to work for you, then that is the reason to do more of it. Because meditation is the ability to let go of all the extraneous thoughts you're having and just concentrate on the moment, on the now. It takes time and practice, as Jonas so rightly says. Yes. And what I would do, Nyasha, is start using meditation to go to sleep at night. And, you'll start getting into that feeling that you learn to concentrate. If you cannot let go of all your thoughts, all right, then that is just like a whirling dervish. You're just going like this all the time. There are online courses. There are lots of stuff on YouTube. Guided meditation. Yoga is forced meditation as well in a different way. There are lots of courses on it all over the place. Yes, the key to meditation is to focus your breathing. Okay, so maybe you'd like to share that with Nyasha. So, we all have um, ways of changing our stress level. So, I liked this quote as well, and it says, in the process of letting go, you will lose many things, but you will find yourself. I keep thinking about that thing that Jonas said, which is that if you are able to concentrate on your breathing, you won't be thinking about anything else because you're concentrating on your breathing. And, your thoughts go in and out again. Yeah. You know, and I thank you for sharing the fact that you found an app that works for you. One of the things I definitely know about life is that you can hear the good advice 258 times or 258,000 times. And the day you're ready to take the advice will be the day that you go, oh, that does work. So, yes, keep trying, Nyasha, keep going. Wow. I wonder how many of you can do that. How many of you can balance a book on your head? Breathe in and out and only focus on keeping the book on your head. Clear your mind, focus on your breathing and keeping the book on your head, right? It's so true, right? Which is not only that you will end up with wonderful posture, you will actually be in balance because in order to keep a book on your head, you have to be perfectly straight. You can't be slouched forward or back or to one side or whatever. You have to be absolutely straight. It's a great way to meditate, actually, Beth. Well done. Let's not look at other people and wish that we were them. You are special and God loves you uniquely. He has chosen and called you. With all your good and bad and everything else, right? You are unique. And I think we need to remember that. Hi, Becca. Good to see you. Um, we're talking about letting go, just so that you know, Becca. All right. So the app is called Headspace. Jody, could you make a note of that just so that I can put it in the notes so that people can look it up if they want to? So, it's so important that we understand that God did make us special and he made us with all our flaws, and that's okay. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. And this is another godly quote, but again, it's so true, right? Faith does not mean trusting God to stop the storm, but trusting him to strengthen us as we walk through the storm. Amen to that. All right. Faith doesn't mean trusting God to stop the storm, but trusting him to strengthen us as we walk through it. Well, Inyasha, can I repeat that? Hi, Carrie. Inyasha, let me know if I can repeat that because that is really interesting. Anyway, All right, so I'm not getting an answer yet. Okay, so Nyasha just gave me permission. She said, I really want to change because in 3 months I'll be 34, and I've heard all my life that I act like a child from my parents, and it's true. Hang on a second. I just need to scroll back. And so I really want to change the way I care about others 100%. Yeah, it's, and don't try and change it overnight. Yeah, sure. That's why we try and do one step every week, take one more step. You want to focus on you. I think at 34, it's time, don't you? And by the way, you'll probably find at 44, you're going to say it again. And at 54, you'll say it again. And at 64, you'll probably say it again. Do you understand? We have to keep reminding ourselves that it's okay to focus on ourselves every now and then. Because how can you possibly make others happy if you can't make yourself happy? And another godly quote, which is, God uses ordinary people to carry out his extraordinary plan. Ordinary people. And I would like to say that each of you has the ability to influence somebody for the better. Each of you, right, by just being an example, can help so many. I keep thinking, Jody, about the moringa powder and going, if it helps, I'm going to take it. And I'm still waiting for it to do its magic. But I will keep taking it until I finish what I've got. And then I will decide whether I want to have more. So to me, it's like some people are going to try meditation. I think each of us knows, okay, I want to try one more thing, and keep doing that and keep knowing that it makes a difference. It's very healthy. Exactly. So yes, green tea. Funny you were talking about that, Jody, that one of the best things you can drink is unsweetened green tea. What would you like to say about the bombs, Nana? Go right ahead. And yet again, another person who is mentally not well, who has a history of problems. And how it interrupted so many lives, right? And with all due respect, crazies do that. And I say that crazies do that. We're always going to have crazies. And not only that, I mean, it is a very difficult time. And the one thing we're waiting to hear, if I'm correct on this, is that particular man has threatened Don Lemon publicly. And so far, Don Lemon has not received one of these packages, but he's really quite concerned that there might be one in the mail for him. Kerry's saying, how do I become accustomed to someone who wants to spoil me and likes me in all of my weirdness? It's a foreign concept to me. I don't know how to answer that, Kerry. You just have to let go and accept it for what it is. Yes, I think that's very good advice, Nana. Just learn to say thank you. But do not keep saying to yourself, I don't deserve this, because if you do, that's what you're telling God, is you don't deserve that. Um, I have to say, Nana, there's part of me that feels very sorry for this person who was so, um, this is not the first time he did something like this. I don't know if you know that, Nana. He's threatened to blow up people before. That's his way of dealing with things that he doesn't agree with. And so the sad thing was that he wasn't given treatment then. And that's why we end up with this. So, it's very, very sad. My heart, part of me feels really sorry for the guy who did this. But, I'm also very, very happy that, touch wood, nobody has been blown up yet. And that the Secret Service and the postal people and the FBI and everybody have managed to stop these things before they caused a problem, which I think is incredible. So to me, I find it somewhat, I want to use the word disgusting, but it's probably not the right word, that President Trump is upset because it's interrupting his election bid. I heard that today, that he's actually upset because it's messed his campaign up. And you're going, really? So, it's just like, when will that man stop thinking about himself and start worrying about other people? It just frustrates me, but I'm learning to let that go somehow. All right. Not sure what you're saying there, Jonas. There's so much destruction all over this world, and I didn't know I was complaining about you. I don't think I've ever complained about you, Jonas, but did I misunderstand something here? Oh, it's a quote from a song. Okay. I was going to say, because that was out of context for me. Yes, and I think it's really, really sad. I think it's really sad that this wasn't used as a time to actually bring everybody together, because when you start threatening two ex-presidents and an ex-secretary of state and and the other people, that's serious stuff, right? And as you say, Beth, you had somebody take out two shoppers at the local store. People out there, crazies out there, people. No, Jonas, I'm not a gem. I'm a human being, just like you. I have my good days and then my not so good days. But thank you. So, I just, to me, it's just really sad. The same thing is, I cannot believe that somebody can walk into a Saudi embassy and get murdered. I mean, that's just like so unbelievable to me, that now it's not safe to walk into an embassy. You can get murdered in an embassy. What's happened to our world, right? Just because you don't agree with some of the things they're doing. If we offed everybody that didn't agree what we were doing, how many people would be left in the world? And so this is where I think the world's going backwards, not forwards. I'd like to suggest that we used to have some understanding that you didn't all have to agree all of the time. It was okay to agree to disagree. But I think we're going to see, how about that person? Did you guys hear about that person on the plane who actually groped a female passenger recently? Did you guys see that? And hear what his reason was? I just, I literally just sat there and just went, now I've heard it all. Yeah. Yeah, it was such a trigger for me as well. Apparently, what he said was, well, it's okay to do it. President Trump told me that. That's what he said. And so he went onto a plane and groped one of the passengers. And when the police asked him why he did it, he said that, President Trump had told him it was okay. So what are we teaching people? You know? Yeah, I agree, Beth. And I like to believe that the police thought the same. Yeah. And, so, but what I'm saying is there are people that stupid in the world, right? There are people that believe that sort of stuff because he's setting an example. Yes, exactly. And, can you believe that two ex-presidents were threatened by bombs and he didn't even bother to phone and check that they were okay? How presidential is that? Mind you, did you hear what his reason was? I thought that was I thought that was interesting. Do you know what his reasoning was why he didn't phone the Clintons or the Obamas? I thought that was actually quite interesting because he might be right. He said he didn't call them because he didn't think they'd take the call. I burst out laughing. I went, he could be right on that. Yes, if the president can get away with it, then anybody can use it as an excuse, right? Right. And so I think this is the difficulty now, which is we've brought this down to a new low, and I'm very sad for that, but it is the new reality. Part of me keeps listening to the discussions on the news and thinking, I'd like to go back to the days when we used to be able to discuss things quietly. One person at a time gave their views. Now we just scream at one another, but it's probably not going to go back. Yeah, something, Jody. I actually laughed. I went, that actually is quite funny. And, it probably, you're right. Yeah, he doesn't do accountability very well, does he? It's always everybody else's fault, but not his. Yeah. But, maybe he's there to show us all what that looks like. And, there's another part of me, and you'll forgive me, there's another part of me that says he must have been taught that, right? It was really funny. I remember one of my adopted sons that adopted me was always a great Trump fan, read all the books and da-da-da. Well, you know what Trump says and da-da-da-da. And I went, uh-huh. And I remember talking to them recently and I said, do you still read all the Trump books? They just burst out laughing and said, no, Sal, I should have listened to you a long time ago. Yeah. So I would like to say that in a way, I have hope. I don't know why, but I have hope. I really do have hope that the civility debates will come back, quite honestly. And I actually don't believe that 99% of all government is somewhat corrupt, but you're entitled to that belief. I don't believe that. I have hope that we live in a society that is democratic and that we do have the right to vote and we do have the right to vote in the people that we want in. And I remember that the Americans chose Trump. And, that to me is like, okay, you chose him. So, will the Americans continue to choose him? Maybe. And if so, you've got another 6 years. So, I look at it and go, we have to be aware that he didn't get there by accident. And so, he got there because people voted for him. Yeah, Beth, I understand. You have the right to vote, but what were the choices? I understand that. All right. And I think everybody will be looking at that. Yeah, Jonas, whatever the reasons, I'm still saying that whatever the reasons, people still came out and voted for him. Yeah, I believe Russia used Trump as well and will continue to. But, it's like, think about that and be grateful you live in a democracy. And let's hope that he doesn't ruin too many of your democratic rights. When I saw this thing about the transgender people, I went, wow, that's stomping on some really difficult ground now. And so I'm more concerned about the things that are being turned around than I am about. I have hope that America actually is smart enough and civil enough to turn this around, and do differently. I really do have hope in the future. Now, maybe I'm just weird like that, but we all make mistakes, and I think this is going to go down in history for sure. And it will go down in history for making major changes. But on the other side, I do have to say that he has kept nearly every one of the campaign promises he made. I've got to give him credit for that. So, and that's unlike a lot of people. So you look at that and go, you've got to look at both sides of that. All right, Becca, sleep well, honey. So, Becca, before you go, are there any updates you want me to let people know about? Yes, but at what price, Beth? Your economy is much better, but did you see how much you are now in debt? That all the tax breaks didn't go to the working people. The tax breaks actually got used differently. And so now, do you know how much your country is in debt? In the trillions now. It's gone up 12%. Yes, I quite agree. Yeah. Churchill's quote is wonderful. Democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others. Yeah, that's so true. That is so true, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's the best of a bad bunch. All right, just make sure you put at the end that it's okay for me to share, so I will know what I can share. So, when you look at it, I don't have the answers. And what I want to say is that I trust the American people. And eventually, the changes will come. I wouldn't want to be the next person coming in after this presidency. I've got to say that. I don't care who they are. I would not want to be the person trying to pick up the pieces. Exactly, Jonas. The system may be flawed, but I'd rather have it than nothing. Yes. Be grateful for that. Be grateful that you do have a democracy. I've lived in so many countries where that wasn't so. And so, it may not be perfect and you may not be happy, but, it's better than a lot of other things. Exactly. And it's really, I mean, to me, it's a bit like learning how to play in the playground. And I just think we've got a bit of a bully this time. And so it doesn't matter how many people are saying you need to learn to play nice here. He's not going to learn to play nice. And, he's going to be who he is. And I guess we kept hoping that he was going to change and become presidential, but he's going to stay a bully. So what the heck? And the question is, how do you feel about the fact he's going to close off the borders, the southern borders, so people can't get in? And now the question is not just that the immigrant caravan can't get in, but nobody will be able to get in. Scary stuff. Imagine if you had family coming in from the south, how would you feel? So I don't have the answers, people. Yes, I must admit that's what I would love to be able to turn on the news and not hear that name. You're right. Yes, you can get in, but you have to go through the correct way. All right, which, so many people do. But you know something, Beth? Political asylum seekers have always been allowed to apply for a political asylum. So that was the correct way, that they were allowed to apply. It didn't mean they would get given political asylum, but you are allowed to apply. What I'm hearing now is you won't be allowed to apply. But they can't come in and do it. They have to do it from outside. Do I understand that correctly? Yeah. You know something, Jonas, for a 19-year-old, you have incredibly interesting observations. Incredibly interesting observations. You strike me as somebody who's way older than your age in your thinking. Yes, for your own mental health, you have to stop watching it. I've limited the time I can watch now because it's just I just get frustrated. So, but it is happening. So, and I am a news person, so I will still watch the news. Yes, I know you are, Jonas, but you don't talk like an 18-year-old. I don't know many 18-year-olds that quote Oscar Wilde or can talk about the news the way that you do. That was my point. That's unusual for your age. And I find it interesting that you obviously quote him a lot. Yeah, 18 going on 48 is, yeah. So, the main thing is, that I don't think that I want to stop watching the news. I just have to spread it out a bit better. Even if all the channels are biased now, you still need to hear the points of view, the different points of view. Whether you agree with them or not is that's your choice as an adult. But I still think it's important to know what's going on in the world. I mean, did you guys hear about the teacher in China that ran amok? I mean, you go, this is amazing what's going on in the world. It's not just here. Yes, and that's my point, Jonas, right? You feel isolated because you take an interest in Oscar Wilde while others, teens of your age, are talking about Kanye and the Kardashians, and that shows. I also say that I find it fascinating as an 18-year-old that you have supported the channel as much as you have. All right? So, I look at it and go, I think if you're going to watch the news, Beth, watch a little bit of everybody's if you can. I actually watch BBC. I watch a bit of Al Jazeera. I try and make sure that I read a bit of everything to see how the different people are actually reporting it. Jonas, I think it sets you apart, and that's why you don't fit in, and it's okay not to fit in. You know what I mean? It's like if you came in here and only ever quoted Kanye and the Kardashians, we would have a different view of you. Yes, and you're entitled to have your opinions heard. The problem is that when you think like more like a 30-year-old than an 18-year-old, it must be very difficult for you in your age group. So I would imagine, are you an only child, Jonas? And my second question would be, have you spent a lot of time with adults rather than with children? You have a brother, okay. Because, what I found is most people who have these issues have grown up in a family where you spent a lot of time talking with adults, and therefore you have a more adult mentality, if you like. Where did you learn to quote Oscar Wilde so well? Rather than the words of a rap song. So, these sort of things come from an unusual base, as far as I'm concerned, a great base, but, and, it'll be confusing for people of your age group because they have no interest. Hi, Jamie. Jamie, what was the best thing about your birthday this year? I've been dying to ask you that. Yes, good advice there, Beth. Don't worry about fitting in. You'll be just fine. One day people will want to fit in with you. Yeah. I think that's very, very good advice. You're a hopeless romantic. I don't think you're hopeless at all. I really don't think you're hopeless at all. I think you're a very smart cookie. But I can imagine how lonely it is for you at this stage because, you don't think like your peer group. And, keep not thinking like your peer group, and you will find that opportunities will come your way because you actually sound, that much older than your years. And that will help you a great deal in your life. Beth says she's not a hopeless romantic, she's a hopeless cleaner. Isn't that cute? I love it. So we've been talking about letting go of stuff. And I hope that this has helped a couple of you realize what you need to be aware of. We all need to let go of stuff. And like the leaves, we have served our purpose, and it's time to let the leaves drop and then conserve our energy ready for the spring. If you happen to be listening to this and you're in the southern hemisphere, it is the opposite, all right? You're about to go into spring, and you are about to, take all the energy that you've been storing up over the winter. For some of us, are a bit like bears. We'd rather hibernate for the winter and just forget about it. I think that's why I'm eating the candy. I'm getting ready to hibernate. Jonas is saying people see me as complex. Yeah, that's because you are. And that's not a bad thing. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate the fact that you. Yeah, I just go, one more handful. Can't do me any harm. And then I go, how many handfuls have I had today? Right. But they're so good. So, Jody, I took 2 of these today in the hope that might counter some of it. So in terms of letting go of stuff because it's full, it's okay to be who you are. And I think it's okay not to fit in all the time. I think it's okay to be Beth and just dust one more room if that's what makes her happy. Yeah, I know. You know something, Jody? These stupid wrappers, I'm now putting them directly into the garbage sack. They're not in my little bedside waste paper basket anymore because there are way too many of them. I just keep taking the whole basket and throwing them out every day because it's like, I don't want this evidence. You're quite right. Yeah, those wrappers take up a lot of space. How are your sour candy things? I know that's what you've been eating, but what is everybody else? Sour Patch Kids, right? What is everybody else eating for Halloween candy? I know Beth said she's not eating any. So it's just like Sour Patch Kids, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm not the only one. And that's why they make so much money at Halloween, right? Because so many adults buy candy and then eat it before Halloween and have to go back and buy more. Three Musketeers joined the fun. Okay. So to me, to me, it's okay to be who you are. It's okay that it's Halloween. Let's just get through it, right? It's okay to let's just keep moving on. Life goes on. Well, Jonas, I'm 71 and I'm still waiting to feel that way about candy. I love I love Jolly Ranchers as well. I normally when they finish doing the candy, they normally have those suckers left over, and I will buy a box to last me the year. I'm just finished my last box from last year. I buy a whole box of Jolly Rancher lollies, popsicles, whatever you call them. I don't know what you call them in the States. But I buy a big box of them if I can find it, because they're great. Whatchamacallit? Lollipops, thank you. Yeah, lollipops. Okay. Yeah, lollies. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for tonight's broadcast. Did anybody get anything that they want to discuss quickly before we go? Is there any part of this where you're going, I'm glad that I listened because da 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 da? When's the next broadcast? As usual, it will be on Sunday at 3:30 Pacific time. And once again, thanks to Jody for keeping track of everything. She does such a great job. And Jody, our thoughts and prayers go out for you that that car is meant to be yours and that it all happens. And for those of you who were keeping track, I've managed to get my sleep pattern from 6 hours, less than 6 hours a night, up to an average this week of over 7.5. So I've really been working hard at that. Beth, I love it that you use the broadcast to just sit and listen and relax. That is great. I actually, Jonas, you're better than appreciated for being different. You're appreciated for being Jonas, right? It's like, it's not important that you are appreciated for being different. You're appreciated for being who you are. And so that is what we all strive for, I believe. I want people to like me, not because I'm perfect. I would like people to like me because I am a human being. I have good days and bad days. Nyasha, 3:30 would be 6:30 Atlantic time. Yes, it is the only thing, you got to be you, and you is okay. Well, that's good to hear. Jody's saying, I needed to know that I'm not alone tonight, and a reminder to let go. I had a bit of anxiety and it's gone now. Hugs. Well, I'm delighted to hear that. To all of you, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a moment just to think about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And to remember that we can choose to let some of it go if we want to, or we can fight it all the way if that's what we choose. So, Isabel, good to see you there, honey. Hi. So I will speak to you on Sunday. We'll be doing our Soul Work Sunday and looking forward. By the way, are you guys still enjoying doing the format this way? And if there's any subject you would like me to talk about specifically, remember to let me know so that I can do a special broadcast if I think it's something that will be of value to the rest of the group. So big hugs to you all. And thank you for your honesty, for your sharing. You will be amazed how many people will be helped just because of what you had to share tonight. And Beth, thank you so much for checking up on the fact that I had hit the wrong button. That is really kind of you to have noticed that. I was quite convinced I had done that the right way, which goes to show how human I am. And I will be doing that again. It's actually the first thing that I do, Beth, which was why I was horrified that it hadn't worked. So I'm going, I know I did it. It's the first thing I did, except I hit the wrong button. So everybody have a super Saturday, and I will see you again on Sunday. So big hugs to you all. Remember to look after one another, but please, please, please start off by making yourself happy. Start off by controlling yourself, not everybody else. And by the way, stop nagging people. I thought that was a really interesting conversation. All right, stop nagging people and hold them accountable for being adults, because when you nag them, they're just going to resent you. They're not going to love you for it. And, if you stop nagging them, they will just fall into their own traps. So, big hugs, and we'll see you on Sunday. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.